Now let us understand decimal numbers. So we will look at the concept of place value, we'll understand what it is, and finally we will see how we can compare decimal numbers. So what are decimal numbers? So simply decimals are numbers that include a decimal point to represent fractions whose denominators are powers of 10. So we are basically representing fractions, and those fractions whose denominators are powers of 10. So essentially a decimal number is another way to write a fraction. So when I say powers of 10, the denominator can be 10 or 100 or 1000 and so on. So instead of writing the denominator explicitly, we use a decimal point. We use this decimal point in the numerator to indicate its value. So let us understand how we can convert a fraction to a decimal. So let us take the example 1 by 2 half. So we just need to rewrite it so that the denominator is a power of 10, in this case 10. So half we can write it as 5 by 10. So this we can now write it as 0.5. Let us consider 1 by 4. So 1 by 4, if we want to write it so that there is a power of 10 in the denominator, it can't be 10 because we can't obtain 10 by multiplying 4 with anything. So it has to be 100. So 1 by 4 can be written as 25 by 100 because 4 multiplied by 25 gives us 100 and 1 multiplied by 25 gives us 25. So it is 25 by 100, which is 0.25. So this is how we indicate it as a decimal. Now say we have 7 by 10. 7 by 10 would be nothing but 0.7. So similarly 23 upon 100 is nothing but 0.23. So just to recap, we have two things. One is a decimal fraction, and the other is a decimal number. So a decimal fraction is a fraction where the denominator is a power of 10. And a decimal number is a number where the denominator of the fractional part is indicated using a decimal point. So in this case, this 0.7 part is the fractional part. In 0.23, this 0.23 is the fractional part. Now let us see place value in decimals. So we are already familiar with place value in whole numbers. So in this case, we have units place, then we have tens place, hundreds, etc. So but for decimal numbers, the place value system would extend to the right of the decimal point. So we have the left of the decimal point and right of the decimal point. So left of the decimal point, the place value system would work exactly like it worked with whole numbers, but to the right of the decimal point, we'll see how it works. Let us take up an example. Say we have 312.47. So in this case, we know from our previous classes that 3 is in hundreds place, 1 is in tens place, 2 is in units place. Now extending this further, after the decimal point, we say that 4 is in tenths place. that is 1 by 10. Similarly, 7 is in hundreds place. That is 1 upon 100. So we can write this 312.47 as 300 plus 10. So how do we get 300? 300 is basically the number, the digit which is 3 multiplied by its place value, that is 100. Then we have 1 multiplied by 10 to get 10. Then we have 2 which is in units place, so we multiply it by 1. So this is 2. So 300 plus 10 plus 2 plus, now we have 4 and we need to multiply it with the place value which is 1 by 10. So which gives us 4 by 10. Similarly, 7 would be 7 by 100 because 7 is in hundreds place. Let us see another example. Say we have the number 48.352. So this can be broken down because 4 in this case is in tens place, 8 is in units place, 3 is in tens place, so we would have to multiply it with 1 by 10. 5 is in hundreds place, so we would have to multiply it with 1 by 100. And 2 finally we have is in thousands place, that is we need to multiply it with 1 by 1000. So we can break down 48.352 as 40 plus 8 plus 3 upon 10 plus 5 upon 100 plus 2 upon 1000. So how did we get 40? We just took the digit 4 and multiplied it with its place value which is 10. So how did we get 2 by 1000? We took the digit that is 2 and we multiplied it with its place value that is 1 by 1000 to end up getting 2 by 1000. And we would read this number as 48.352. So that is how we read decimal numbers. So when reading a decimal number, we say each digit individually after the decimal point. For example, if we have 78.64, so that is how we read it. We read this as 0.64. We don't say 0.64. Similarly, say we have 105 and then the decimal part is 0, 3 and 9. So we read it as 105.039. We don't say 105.039 or 105.39. We simply read it as 105.039. Now let us see how we can compare two decimal numbers. So the first step would be to compare the digits to the left of the decimal point. And if those are the same, we compare the digits to the right of the decimal point, one place at a time. For example, say we need to compare 13.26 and say 13.62. We can see that toward the left of the decimal point, that's the whole number part, that is 13, is same for both. So we begin by comparing the digit to the right of the decimal point one place at a time. So in this case, we compare 2 and 6 first, and clearly 6 is greater than 2. So 13.62 is greater than 13.26. Let us see another example. Say we have 24.9 017, and we are comparing this with 24.102. Even in this case, the whole number part 24 remains the same. So we compare the tens place. So 1 is greater than 0. So 24.102 is greater than 24.017. Now what if this was say 25.102? Say if we are comparing 24.017 with 25.012, 25 is already greater than 24, the whole number part. So this is simply greater than 24.017. So only when the whole number part is the same, we start comparing from the right of the decimal point, one digit at a time. So there are just three things that you need to remember from this video. Firstly, fractions with powers of 10 as denominators are being represented as decimals. So whenever we have 9 by 100, we are writing it as 0.09. Secondly, place value determines the value of digits in decimals. For example, if we have say 405.38, 3 is in tenths place, representing 3 by 10. Thirdly, to compare decimal numbers, we start with the whole number and then move to the decimal part place by place.